Okay, good morning, folks, and welcome to Swing Trading Today. This is Bob Desmond, and it is an interesting morning. So, I titled the subject line of this video, "What is missing in the stock market?" and it relates to earnings. And while earnings for the mega cap tech names have not been bad, what's missing is that there's no guidance. Companies have withdrawn guidance, and we really don't have a great feel for what Q2 earnings might look like. And what they have been very, very articulate in doing, meaning the mega cap names, they've been articulate in shaping when the coronavirus impacted their earnings, namely, for the example of Google, the second week of March, allowing for most of the quarter to provide them pretty good earnings. Now, with regard to forward-looking guidance, we're not getting much. And I believe Microsoft withdrew forward-looking guidance. Now, they were as high last night as 186.52 on earnings, and they have pulled back some. It's still going to be an up morning, no doubt about it. The question is, do they hold these gains? So we'll scroll through the charts as we normally do. First, taking a look at, I have to go with the S&P 500 first because we hit a high overnight of 29.65, and now we're just barely holding on to gains. Up only 0.03%. Let's bring up the NASDAQ. You know, first let's bring up Bitcoin. It spiked yesterday. Yeah, it's given some of it back now. But big moves here. Big moves on Bitcoin. There's the S&P. Here's the NASDAQ. All right. So we hit a high overnight of 91.44.75, and we're pulling back a little bit. We're holding a lot of gains here. Again, the question is, do we hold these gains? Now, Jay Powell yesterday was not overly... Good morning, Jedi. How are things in Louisville? All right. So what we'll be watching is this. Still a strong morning, up nearly a half percentage point off the highs. Oh, tonight, folks, this is a reminder. We're going to be doing Thursday night stock charts live, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please join us. Yeah, New York Jets, welcome. Yeah, the saber rattling's probably going to continue. I think that we're at the precipice of a new dawn with with the Chinese, and they're trying to have the U.S. dollar dethroned as the world's currency. Oh, really? You're shut down until May 25th, huh, Jedi? I haven't had a haircut, and like everybody else, it's not just me, but in, my God, weeks. I look like a hippie. All right, so we're watching support here for the NASDAQ. Today's the last trading day of the month. Nat gas down. Breakout point failure. This is a 4-hour chart. We had broken out above resistance, now we're back down below, back in a trading range. And today is the inventory, nat gas inventories. 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Light sweet crude. Holding gains. I knew they were going to rally this. This is a beautiful setup. No breakout, though. Above resistance. What else do we have? Dow. Yeah, we're just barely holding on to gains here on the Dow. Let's take a look at some of the names that have reported earnings. Microsoft, we know they're probably going to have a good day. Intel, which is already reported. We have Apple after hours today reporting. So Intel, despite the forward-looking guidance not looking good, has rallied since earnings, but appears to be stalling out a little bit here. A little bit. Qualcomm, that's up in the pre-market. So tech is still looking good this morning. Google, still looking good. Let's go to the U.S. dollar. All right, so the dollar's under some pressure, and that's allowing for gold. GA, good morning. Thank you for joining. Let's go to gold. Let's just have silver up in front of me. Let's bring up silver. That broke out. We've been talking about this inverted head and shoulders setup. Here's the left shoulder, right shoulder, head, neckline, breakout. Very, very nice breakout on silver. And one thing, I forgot to go over this. I was taking a look at the charts before we went live. While the futures action is up for the major averages, in particular the S&P 500, the VIX is up as well. So while we're up this morning and have been up, the VIX is up as well. So somebody's out there buying insurance. Here's the Russell. The Russell 2000 is now negative. We just went negative. Gold. Gold continues to gain steam here. We continue to add to the gold mining trade. We're up about a percentage point. So gold looks as though it's going to probably break out. Hey, Tommy. Will we see a second leg down? You know, Jay, I've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now. I've expected it. And I think that we probably will, but not in the time frame that I expected. So, yeah, I think we'll get a pullback. But what I worry about with being overly short this market is that we have a Federal Reserve and a government right now. If you think about it, you know, they reported horrible GDP numbers yesterday. But what did they do? Thanks, Blockchain. What did they do yesterday with the GDP number? Rather than just simply allowing it out at the normal hour that they were supposed to, they delayed the announcement so that they could talk about Gilead and their drug. So they wanted to change the conversation from the GDP numbers to Gilead. And that allowed for the markets to rally on the heels of Google's earnings. So while, you know, I'd love to sit here and say, you know what, guaranteed the charts are telling me that we're going down again. You know, we're playing against some pretty powerful forces trying to keep this market afloat. So while I believe that we will have a pullback, the courage of my convictions is not as great as it once was, because the obstacles in our way to getting that second leg down are, you know, liquidity, and there's a ton of it out there, and plus you have the government influencing these markets. Yeah, Tom, you saw that, right? Yeah, the GDP manipulation. They delayed it. Think about that. They delayed it, the report. So, you know, I love to say, yeah, we're going down. You got to short the market. I would say this: be very, very careful and be very, very deliberate in shorting this market. Just be careful, please. All right, let's see if the S&Ps. All right, so they're still up. All right. I think that's pretty much what I wanted to go over in the futures action. Let's take a look at the charts. So, final day of the month. Let's first go with PE on a historical basis. I'll talk about this tonight once this updates. So here's where we're at. S&P 500 in red. This line here correlates with this this entry here. Overvalued. Look where we're at. Well above that line in red. The market remains overvalued. Everybody's focusing right now on valuations for last quarter, and really nobody's paying attention to what the following quarter is going to bring. And to his credit, Jay Powell said it. You know, he said it yesterday. Things aren't looking good. He even backed away from forward-looking guidance. Oh, so you're short too, blockchain? Nat gas? Okay, we'll bring up nat gas. Gee, I already went over nat gas in the pre-market. We had a breakout point failure on a 4-hour chart. So just be careful there. We'll bring it back up. You can see we're down 1.5%. We had broken out above resistance. That was on the 28th. And we have now failed and broken back down below that support level. So just be careful here on nat gas. We'll go to a static chart. But first, let me get done with this chart here. So, folks, in short, I'm not big on valuations, really. But when you're in an environment like this, with so much uncertainty, do I want to go add into my retirement account with valuations like this? I don't think so. With no real visibility moving forward. We'll take a look at AUMN. Yeah, we were adding to the miners. We continue to build on the miners. That's one of our core positions. A very good day yesterday. Very nice consolidation. Let's go take a look at nat gas first. We'll bring up the UNG. Wrong chart. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Let's get rid of this. Okay. Do an update and let's see if I have my saved versions here, which I'm sure I do. Here we go. All right. So the last time we spoke about nat gas, we were looking at the monthly chart and the Stokes, and we were watching for a breakout. We don't have that breakout yet. We're poised for one. This looks pretty good, but we're still looking for that breakout. And on price, we remain in a downtrend. Every time we rally up and into this upper band of resistance, we get rejected. Good volume this month. Think about it. This is going to be the first month we probably close up. One trading day left to go. Probably close up since November. Crazy. So the monthly chart, it's like a coiled spring. It needs a catalyst. Maybe today's nat gas inventories report will do it. Production is probably coming offline, given the frackers are seeing a slowdown. And one of the byproducts from frackers or fracking is nat gas. We pulled back yesterday. Stokes are threatening to hook up with higher lows, possible higher low here on RSI. It's a nice consolidation. Rolling over on Ultimate Oscillator. You know, I would wait for a recapture to be safe of, let's call it 195 on nat gas spot. I'd want to be back above the support level, and ideally even above the $2 mark before I opened up a position. And that would have us breaking out on a 4-hour basis. And that would give me the warm and fuzzies. So nat gas, I think, is probably going to do fairly well in the coming months. Let's take a look at AUMN. Let's go to the TrendSpider. Before I log off, I'm going to take a stroll back to the futures. Golden Minerals, really nice chart here on a daily basis. Really, really nice chart. The only thing that's concerning is that we saw some selling off the highs yesterday. Let's go to the intraday chart. No. Why is this showing me that? Oh, it's the volume. The volume was thin. That's why. This is a pretty chart. The only thing I'll say about the intraday chart is that we left the day yesterday pretty overbought relative to the third standard deviation Bollinger Band, but we've been there before, but it did result in a big sell-off. Higher lows. I think we're moving up higher here. Let's go to a monthly chart. We're off the highs of the month. Higher lows on RSI. Stokes looking good. Weekly chart. Nice bullish reversal bar on the week. Good volume. Very good volume. I like the setup. This is a junior miner, NY Jets. The chart looks good. I just get worried. If it is a junior miner, I just get worried about the individual names in the junior miner sector because there are a lot of fly-by-night operations out there, and you really need a specialist with individual names. So it's a chart that looks promising, no doubt about it. The sector looks awesome. The environment for the gold miners is outstanding. Barrick is an investor. That's optimistic. So I'm big on the gold miners. Everybody knows that. A little bit skeptical about individual names, but the chart looks good here. I like it. DGAZ. You bet, NY. Now, this is the short ETF of Nat Gas, if memory serves. Yes. Okay, so Hmm. Hmm. Normally, I wouldn't entertain this, but the fact that we broke down on the 4 hour chart has me looking at it. I'd be very careful with shorting that gas here, despite the fact that we um, broke down on a 4 hour basis, because you have that inventories report coming out, and if you see a drawdown in inventories, you don't want to be short of nat gas because this thing has it can have a rip your face off rally, meaning nat gas. It's in a consolidation. If we begin to break out above the 250 mark, then I would be optimistic. Right now, it's pure speculation as to whether or not this is going to break out. We're seeing higher lows and ultimate oscillator, but no breakout yet. Let's see what TrendSpider tells us here. Okay, no data from a weekly perspective. Oh, because I'm using. Okay, let's try this now. All right. This is why I like TrendSpider. I'll tell you, it's like my spell check for technical analysis. So, looking at a daily chart on a weekly basis, we broke out above resistance levels on a weekly basis. These dotted lines, note that we're on a daily chart with weekly overlays here in dashed line, and we broke out above them yesterday. And we closed there. So we're seeing some strength here. I still wouldn't buy it until such time as we broke out above this upper band of resistance. Just making a note to myself. I look at so many charts that I have to make notes. We'll keep this active for a few days. And there we go. I want to keep a note up here as well. Forget about the breakthrough. I want to watch for a retest. And I wouldn't touch this thing until after 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let that report get out of the way. Keep it active for a few days. And there we go. Over here. All right, so set it and forget it. My notes are made. We'll move on. Possible entry point here. on either A, a retest of support and we hold, or a breakout above resistance, or a mixture of both. But I wouldn't stay too long in this. All right, with that, folks, I'm going to say everybody have a profitable trading day. Please join us tonight, Thursday Night Stock Charts Live. We'll go over the weekly charts and the day's events. We'll see how we're poised to close out the week. And if you could please smash that like button, it helps me out with the YouTube algorithms. I'd really appreciate it. Everybody have a profitable trading day again. I'll talk to you soon.